الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. This Saturday will mark the wiladat of the best of creation, Rasulullah, and it is for us a very joyous occasion. And it is important just how we mourn for Ahlul Bayt, alayhimus salam, it's important to be joyous as well. And being happy and having joy is something that is very good. We even have traditions, for example, what brings about joy. One of them, for example, immersing oneself in water. We have traditions that causes someone to have joy. So for the entire Muslim world, this wiladat is very important, is Mubarak. And we try to learn lessons from the life of Rasulullah and to see what caused him so much success that in a short period of time, 23 years, he brought forth a religion, deen, the final religion. And that today you see how impactful it is, how effective it is in our lives, and how every day it's spreading farther than it did before. When you look and analyze Rasulullah's life, tonight we'll be speaking about 6 things that Rasulullah sought refuge from. When you look at his life, you see that Rasulullah's mission was always done with the best of akhlaq and disposition and behavior. How Quran mentions that if فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ, and if it wasn't for the mercy of Allah, so by the mercy of Allah you were lenient with them. وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ, and if you were not compassionate with them, if you were rude in speech, if you were harsh in heart with them, they would have run away, they have left. You see, time and time again, Rasulullah had the appropriate behavior that would attract people. So mercy of Rasulullah is actually one very important part that led to his success, how many people loved him, his humility, his akhlaq. When you see that after many years of being sanctioned and at war from Quraysh, when it's his turn to conquer Mecca, he mentions that today, or is mentioned that today is Yawmul Marhama, today is the day of mercy. He's not going to seek revenge to all those Quraysh that have killed his family, his beloved. He's going to forgive them. He's going to let them be. And many of them became Muslim. So mercy is one part of the life of Rasulullah that we see causes success. And when we, as teachers, as leaders in society, as parents, we need to always remember the mercy of Rasulullah, even though we need to be firm. He also, Rasulullah, was qati' and firm, had resolve. But at the same time, we have to remember to be merciful and to be forgiving. And if somebody does wrong to us, then we are the first ones to approach them. Or if someone does wrong to us, we forgive them. The second aspect of Rasulullah's life that I'd like to share that led to his success is tawakkul, reliance. It is his connection to God. When you look at leaders, you see how many times these leaders throughout the world, or throughout history, how much they feared defeat, and how much they were worrying about their situation. From the beginning, Rasulullah was always outnumbered. He was alone, him, Imam Ali alayhi salam, and a few others, and for example, his wife, in the holy city of Mecca. Slowly and slowly he gains more followers, but still he's outnumbered. In the 10 years, about 10 years that he's in Medina, you see the wars from Badr to Uhud, to other battles, Khandaq, you see that Rasulullah is sometimes outnumbered 1 to 3. But he never loses his tawakkul. He never loses his reliance on Allah. In one of the battles that is mentioned, it is the battle of Ghazwatu the Amr. They say that Rasulullah was sitting, resting away from his army, all alone, in a place where it was very easily for him to be caught and found. At that time, a person comes and they inform and they say, look, he is all alone. Imagine Rasulullah is all alone, and those that were at war with him, it's a good chance, opportunity to come and try to attack him while there's nobody around him. At that time, one person comes over the mountains, whatever, over the hills, he comes and he sneaks in a part where Rasulullah did not expect at all to defend himself. He comes with his sword, and this is in the book A'lam al-Wara. He comes forward and says, فَقَالْ يَا مُحَمَّدْ مَنْ يَمْنَعُكَ مِنِّي الْيَوْمِ. Who's going to prevent me today? Who is going to save you, for example, today? And Rasulullah answers in the tradition, قَالَ Allah. Allah will save me. Imagine, without a sword, someone has a sword to you, to your face, to your head, to your neck. He's asking, who's going to save you? And you say at that time, you don't fear. Many people at that time would fear, run away, scream maybe. He says, who's going to save you? And he said, I'm done for. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, it's over. But Rasulullah says, Allah will. At that time, this tradition has, Jibreel makes them fall, and Rasulullah now gets the sword. His reliance on Allah saved him. As you see all over Islamic history, as Rasulullah was always outnumbered, generally, always he had trust on what was in the hands of Allah, not what was within his own hands. And the same person, after he sees that Rasulullah has the sword to him, and he repeats the same thing, basically, who's going to save you? The person says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. He becomes Muslim because he sees the reliance of Allah that Rasulullah has. He sees Jibreel come, for example, and save him. And he goes back to his people. He says, why did you come back? What happened? He says, I'm a Muslim. And actually, I saw that Jibreel came, a person came and saved him. And for him, that was a sign that this is a prophet of Allah. So we look at this story that the second part of Rasulullah's success is his tawakkul, is his reliance on Allah. That even though he always did not have the upper hand, but many times you see that he was successful, and he was always successful. When you look at tawakkul, Mullah Naraqi brings in his book, Jami' al-Sa'adat or other places, possibly that there are 3 stages of reliance on Allah. Reliance means what? What does tawakkul mean? Who can tell me? Reliance means this, that you do not know what the future will bring you. You don't know. But you know it is in the hands of Allah, therefore you're at ease. You're at rest. I don't know what's going to happen. Always when you look at our own lives, there's always something going on. Either it's financial, either it's health, either it's with family, either it's with community. Something is always happening. But a person that has tawakkul, they're at complete calm because they give that issue to Allah. Say, Allah, you're powerful, you're wise, you're merciful. I trust it to you. I don't know what's going to happen, but I trust this affair to you. So Mullah Naraqi brings 3 stages of tawakkul. He mentions 3 stages of tawakkul. The first, he says, is like giving power of attorney. Anyone here have a very strong lawyer, for example, or a very capable person that will do something for maybe a broker or something, and you give that affair to them, you trust them so much, you say, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to take care of it, that's it. I don't worry anymore. That's the lowest level, like power of attorney. You give it power of attorney, and that's it. You're not worried. The second stage he mentions is the tawakkul that a child has with their parents. Many of you are parents here. You can be in the most dangerous of places when that child's 3, 4, for example, they don't understand. and they see the parent is the mom or the father is very calm. As long as they're calm, the child will be calm. The toddler will be calm. If they start freaking out, yes, the child's going to freak out as well. But we see that this is the second stage. When their hand is in the hands of their parents, they're at ease. It can be the most troubling of situations. This is a higher level of tawakkul. Most people, he mentions, are in the first step, that they just give the affair to God. It's not as if they're a child and they put their hand in the hands of, for example, God, and whatever happens, they're at complete ease, like that child is in complete ease. This is the second. The third, which is the hardest, which is a person, and there is some misunderstanding in this level, is that a person is, like he mentions, a dead body. A dead body that is being washed. What does a dead body do that's being washed? Nothing. Completely powerless. Flips him over for ghusl, flips him this way, that way, whatever, takes his arm up, takes his arm down, doesn't have anything. This is the third stage, which means you don't necessarily quit making dua, as some say, because Imam still made dua. Imam Baqir alayhi salam, when his son was sick, you see him going around and praying for his son. Then finally his son passes away. He is calm, and he had granted this affair to the hands of Allah. But while he was sick, he made dua. And this third, maybe you can say, you still make prayer, but in the bottom of your heart, you're saying that whatever Allah wants is khair. Whatever He wants, I will make dua, it's my duty. But whatever happens, I don't necessarily have to change it. I'm not an abd of miracles, and if God doesn't give me this miracle, I don't like Him anymore. I don't want to worship Him anymore. Whatever He gives me is khair. Whatever He wants for me is good. So this is the third stage, where a person is like that dead body. Quran mentions, very beautifully, very short, I'm sure many of you have this verse memorized. Alaysa Allah bikafin abda? Isn't God sufficient for His servant? Alaysa Allah bikafin abda? Quran is asking, is God not sufficient? Do you want a more powerful God? Do you need a more wise God? Do you need a more merciful God? Then why aren't you relying on Allah? You see, this is one of the problems we have in today's time, is that absence of reliance on Allah. Whatever we want to do, we have fear. Whatever we want to do, we don't know what to do. But if you develop this, tawakkul of Allah, whatever you do, you'll have courage. You understand that was within the hands of God is more than what is between my own hands. When you look at especially some of the greats and our scholars, that when they were fighting against dhulm and oppression, they would say, do not look at what you have. Do not look at your weapons. Do not look at your capability. Look what Allah has. Because always throughout the history of Islam, we're outnumbered, outgunned, for example. So what Allah has, that is what reliance means. Alaysa Allah bikafin abda? Is Allah not sufficient? So therefore, when it comes to Islam in the US, it comes to Islam in the West, I always say we don't have enough money, we don't have enough resources, we do not have enough people. They have the media, they have the people, they have the money. But this is the deen of Allah. This is His religion. Will He not promote His religion? Of course He will. So therefore, trust in Allah. Say Bismillah and work. Bismillah and work. Do your duty, and Allah, inshallah, will give you the results. The last is justice. Asad ibn Zurara comes to the Quraysh. Aus and Khazraj are killing each other for a long time. And he's one of the chiefs of Khazraj. He wants to bring down his rival tribe. So he comes to Quraysh to get backing. The Quraysh tells him that we cannot help you right now. There's this person that he is talking to our youth, changing their opinions, saying that the religion of your forefathers is wrong, and that there's only one God, for example. We are dealing with this person who's spreading this new religion. We cannot help you. So it's okay, I'll go back. It seems I cannot get help against my rival tribe, but let me go and perform the rituals. As you know, the rituals of Hajj were taught by Prophet Ibrahim and Ismail that lived in Mecca. The mushrikeen took those tawheedi and monotheistic rituals and they transformed it into shirk and clapping and idols. Safa had an idol on it, Marwa had an idol on it, the Kaaba had idols. So they changed into polytheism. So he says, still I'm going to do Hajj the polytheistic way. He says, okay, if you go and do Hajj, keep your hands in your ears, do not talk to this person. He comes and meets him, he doesn't listen to him, comes and meets him, and just saying this part, I did repeat it before, he asks him about his religion. And Rasulullah answers by Holy Quran, because Quran was the most eloquent of literature that he'd ever seen. And he mentions the verse to him in Surah Al-An'am 152, 153, we're talking about justice of Rasulullah. It says, Quran mentions, let me tell you about what your Lord has commanded. Don't consider anything equal to Allah, shirk. First, it says, what is your religion? Stay away from polytheism. 2, be kind to your parents. Sheikh Ja'far Subhani takes these verses and says that if you want to analyze how the days of ignorance used to be, look at these verses of Quran. Because they were committing polytheism, so Rasulullah is instructed to tell them to do tawheed, perform tawheed. 2, be respectful to the parents. What does that mean? Therefore, they were not respectful to the parents, because Quran is saying, tell them, be respectful to the parents. Don't murder your children out of fear of poverty, murdering children. This is the message of Islam, justice. Don't even approach indecency in public or private. Don't murder for no reason. I'm just going through some of these very fast. Don't handle the property of the orphans except in good reason. Verses of Quran. Maintain equality in your dealings by the means of measurement and balance. Be just in your words, even if the party involved is one of your relatives, and keep your promise with God. Thus does your Lord guide you so that you may take heed. So you see the message that he introduced to Asad ibn Zurara was a message of justice, of being compassionate to parents, the orphans, not murdering one another, being fair, being just. And when he hears this, he becomes Muslim. He hears this, he becomes Muslim. So the third part of Rasulullah's message and the way he delivered this message. First, we said mercy. 2, we talked about reliance on God. He had reliance on God. 3, we talk about justice, promoted justice. This causes Islam to have that effect that it has today. The fourth thing that I'd like to mention is that what caused success is the fact that Islam is a religion of completion. And I think this is a very important aspect in lives, especially as you that are practicing Islam. You look at your lives and you see before, some that were before religious, or you see while you are progressing, that the further you get into Islam, the more complete you become, the better of a person you become. You see that it has ability, Deen has this ability to completely reform you. It causes a revolution within. Many people I've seen that used to do the worst of sins, Islam has that capability to completely transform them, that they won't do anything haram anymore. They won't do anything that is unjust to others. They will not treat people and commit acts of violence, for example, to others. It has this property in Islam. It has this characteristics is there. So the fourth part that I want to talk about, the message of Rasulullah, it's a message of completion. What does completion mean? It means tarbiyat. Tarbiyat means to take something and make it realize its full potential. All of you have high potential. All of you are insan. All of you can reach a very high degree of completion when it comes to beliefs, when it comes to ethical behavior, when it comes to characteristics that you have. You can all blossom and you can shine. This religion is the message that will take us into completion. You see, let me explain this by a story. Once Rasulullah has mentioned that he passed by a group of people that needed help, that were stranded. He goes to them and he wants to help them. So he goes to one group of people, one person who had, for example, livestock, who had, for example, goat's milk or sheep's milk, whatever. And he asks him, this milk, for example, can you help and give it to these people? At that time, this person says, if you're looking for this milk that's already, for example, ready, that is, our dinner. Do not look, Rasulullah, for example, do not look at this milk. If you're looking at the milk that is within the animal, then that is for breakfast. Do not look, do not ask, I'm not going to help you. So he looks further, it is said, and he finds a person that is willing to help, and he asks them, can you help? Basically. And he gives them, for example, milk. And he says, if you want the animal as well, I will give you the animal as well. Take it to them, help them out. That's fine. So we have two types of people. One, a cheap person, a stingy person that does not want to help. And second is a person that actually did want to help and was very generous. What kind of dua do you think, what kind of prayer would Rasulullah make? How would he trade? Because he's going to pray for each and every one of these groups. How do you think he should pray for the stingy person? How do you think he should pray for the person that is generous? When it comes to us, we think, okay, he probably, the stingy person didn't help him, don't make dua for him much. The person that did help, give him tenfolds, give him thousands, for example, much, right? That is a good dua. But the prayer was an awkward prayer for us. The prayer was actually that Rasulullah says, Allahumma kthir malahu wa walada. The stingy person, he says, Allah, give him lots of money and children, for example. The dua that we thought we'd do for the second, the generous one, Rasulullah makes that dua for the first. Give him a lot. In the second person, he prays, Allah, give him as much as is sufficient for him. Coffee for him. Sufficient for him. Don't give him that extra, for example. The dua doesn't have to give him a lot, even though he's very generous. And they ask, and they're confused. People were confused. Why did you make dua in this way? Why did you pray in this way? That you prayed for sufficiency for the second, and you prayed for abundance for the first. Rasulullah mentions, and the tradition has, إِنَّمَا قَلَّ وَكَفَى خَيْرٌ مِمَّا كَثُرَ وَأَلْهَى. That which is sufficient is better. That which was minimum and sufficient and suffices is better than that which is a lot and that will cause a person to become ghafil, cause a person to forget God. So you see from this dua and this behavior of Rasulullah, you see that his du'as, his prayers, his behavior was very measured. What was the principle that we're talking about? The principle of completion. Rasulullah taking people to completion. He wants the best. He doesn't want everyone to become the richest. He wants their richness to be within them. He never wants to pray for someone if he's going to forget God. So he prays for him the first. It is enough first to give him abundantly because he didn't give that special help. So Rasulullah is not going to give that special help. But that special help here is to give him sufficiency. Sometimes when we look at these, stories, we have to wake up and realize that many times we are also in the same way. We don't understand our own occurrences that happen in our lives. We think that if God loves us, he has to make us a millionaire, a billionaire. We think that if God loves us, he has to make us the healthiest of people. We think if God loves us, he has to give us the most amount of children. And if he doesn't, then he doesn't love us. From this dua, you understand that what is sufficient for you is best. What is tailored for you is best. What will take you towards God is best. Therefore, you see, in the day of judgment, for example, when they say it will be the day of hasra, it will be the day of regret, they ask, for example, how come people will not be chastised or punished or be tormented by the fact that they couldn't go to higher levels of heaven? Some answer the question by saying it is like a shirt that is fit for them. They understand, look, this is your action, this is your status, this is for you. In the same way, in this world, when it comes to our health, when it comes to our provisions, when it comes to many different bounties of God, what is sufficient for us, what is meant for us, what will take us to God the most, that is the best for us. And majority of us understand that if today you were to receive $1 billion right now, if Yasi Institute deposited this in all of your bank accounts, you could probably know that maybe many of us could not handle 1 billion, and that many of us would start spending, going on extravagant vacations, wearing useless things, and being separated from God in a way that maybe some have such high levels of piety that yes, they would use every dime of it for Allah. But the majority of us, if we had that test from Allah, test of a large amount of money, maybe we wouldn't use it wisely too. Maybe we would change, our attitude would change. Maybe we would look for billionaire Muslim Shia friends, for example, that were just like us, that we cannot hang out with the normal people. So therefore, we have to realize that this fourth characteristic of Islam is the fact that it brings us into completion. It's so impactful, even 1,400 years, even the fact we're in another continent. When you follow the instructions of Islam, you see what it does for you. You see the effect yourself. And that effect is enough for you to get more religious, to go to the next stage of guidance, to go to the next stage. You see, I see, look at me before. I have now, disciplined myself. I have fought against my lower desires. I have fought against, for example, anger. I fought against stinginess. I feel more complete. I feel more connected. I feel more calmness. So then I will worship more. So majority of us, and the best way to get more into Islam is by practice. And I'm saying this to myself. When you practice, you see the effects. When you see the effects, the results, you like it. And you say that I'm a much different person than I used to be before. I have a different relationship than I had before. Then I go to the next stage. Then I practice and I see the next stage. Then I see how great it is. Then I go to the next stage. This is why we should continuously progress, because you keep going to higher, higher, higher stages. But if we're at a normal stage, we don't progress, or if we don't take religion seriously, we always look for loopholes. When it comes to khoms, for example, who wants to pay khoms? I don't want to give that money. When it comes to zakat, when it comes to salat ayat, we had a few days ago, for example, who wants to do that prayer? Why is it wajib? I'm busy. When it comes to not being serious about deen, you will never see the effects of religion. When you do not see the effects of religion, you will not be encouraged to go to the next step of religion, because Islam is about discovering God, discovering Him. And you discover Him through your a'mal, through your action, and through your beliefs. So these were the fourth stages of Rasulullah. Sorry, this introduction was a little long. I'm going to make the second part short. I always like to give practical examples at the end, a hadith that is from Rasulullah, so that we can implement it in our lives. Whoever wants to hear this hadith, please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This tradition that Rasulullah used to make dua or seek refuge from 6 things. I heard a tradition, it was 8, but then the sources, I found the sources of that, the sources were not from Shia sources. At least I didn't find them, it was 8. So I found another one that is 6. 6 things that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam narrates in the book, that Rasulullah used to continuously, every day, seek refuge from. في كل يوم من 6 خصال. 6 attributes that Rasulullah would seek refuge from. If he seeks refuge from it, should we not seek refuge from it? Yes. 6 things. Let's see if it's in us and what to do about them. First, min ash-shak. The first, Rasulullah would seek refuge from doubt. From doubt. Doubt happens through not having the right answer. not having knowledge, or Islamic literacy, not being at the level that it should be. So therefore, you go to social media, you go to the youth, they throw a few, questions here and there. Why did this happen in history? Why did that happen? And that young, poor person comes back and says, oh no, maybe it's right. Maybe this isn't the correct religion. Maybe this doesn't exist. Maybe this didn't happen. So the first part of eliminating shak, and Rasulullah asks refuge from shak, is to have a good, strong foundation when it comes to beliefs. Strong foundation and strong demonstrations for your beliefs. The traditions have, if your deen is based off Holy Quran and Hadith, mountains will move before your deen moves, before your iman moves, before your faith moves. We should not be like those that we just take our religion from, the words, our friend said this, our father said this, mother said this. We need that strong foundation. But yet there's another type of shak. Shak actually arises from a different part, which is not from the mind. Doubt also comes from the heart. Doubt also comes from the heart. And you've heard of waswas. The shaitan breathes into you doubt, for example. Do I have wudu? You do it again. Oh, I think I lost my wudu. Do I do it? He makes you, and for taharat, especially those that, a lot of times there's a relationship between those that are always having waswas and having all the time doubting themselves in a relationship with their beliefs. Now, is this right? Maybe this religion isn't right. Maybe the Quran has this. Maybe it contaminates from the belief to actions, practices, to the beliefs. So the second part is shak, that comes from the heart. And when you look at the verses of Quran, you see that Allah is the one who guides. Allah opens the chest to guidance, right? You've seen people, you've given the same proof, same explanation to people. One becomes Muslim, one doesn't become Muslim, right? They're both maybe at the same level of understanding. One's heart is ready, the other one, his heart is not ready. So the problem that we have is when we contaminate our souls and we don't have an intact heart, a qalb salim, an intact heart, that heart cannot understand Islam anymore. That heart is broken. That heart is poisoned. When you give it ma'rifah and understanding, it rejects it. So this is the other type that we should seek refuge from. They're both shak, one from the mind, one from sin, and that poison that I put in my own heart. The second is was shirk. I seek refuge from polytheism. I don't think anyone here worships idols. I think most of us perform the Du'a Kumail tonight, right? So how does Rasulullah seek refuge from shirk? Well, there's two types of shirk. One is the jali shirk, polytheism that is manifest in idol worshipping that we do not do. Second is a shirk that is khafi, a shirk that is hidden. And that is doing things, worshipping others besides Allah. And that is very dangerous and very hard to eliminate. You can ask yourselves by your own motivations today, what actions did you do? Did you do all that? I'm saying to myself, did I do these actions for God, or did I do it for myself or others? Did I even forget to do it about God? Does that mean that I have shirk in my life today? I had khafi shirk, hidden polytheism? Because if anything is for other than God, God says, Aina khayru sharik, I'm the best partner. I'll give the entire reward to the other person. Get it all from him. I don't want any of it. I only want ikhlas. I only want sincerity. So the second thing, we ask refuge from shak, doubt, to shirk, which is polytheism. The third is al-hamiyya. Al-hamiyya. This word is used in the Quran. Quran mentions, إِذْ جَعَلَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ الْحَمِيَّةَ حَمِيَّةَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. When the faithless nourished, some translate hamiyya as bigotry, chauvinism, bigotry, in their hearts, and the bigotry of pagan ignorance. Hamiyya means that a person accepts something, is inclined towards something without logic, just because others are doing it. There's no logical reason to do this or to accept this group or to make this decision, for example. Hamiyya means to follow without logic. You choose others, you choose your group, your tribe, you like something because of your desires. Hamiyya. The fourth thing, and we'll be ending it soon, is wal ghadab, anger. Again, good thing we don't have this for on Wednesday nights, because that is when they say the Sadat are very angry. That's why we don't have Du'a Kumail on Wednesday nights. We have it on Thursday nights, or else you would be in trouble. But it's Thursday night. We just had a night of anger, a day of anger is Wednesday. Now I'm calm. I can talk about this topic very calmly today. Ghadab, anger, is actually a ni'mah of Allah. Don't think anger is something bad. Mullah Naraqi and Jami al-Sa'adat mentions that the aql controls, logic controls the anger. Anger is one of our faculties. So is shahwa, for example, lust, and so is the imagination. The aql administers these things, how much anger to have, when to be angry, when not to be angry. Is there any beneficial time to be angry? Yes. When it comes to defending my rights, you become angry. You become very strong, very powerful. You become fearless when you're angry. When it comes to deen and religion, you see Rasulullah, Imam Ali alayhi salam, they use ghadab in the right way and anger in the right way when it came to deen and religion. The tradition has ghadab in the wrong way when a person becomes angry. And we all are working on ourselves to control our anger, especially those that are parents. They have, these children that drive them almost nuts, so they become naturally very angry. That's why they say grandchildren are good. Some say grandchildren are good because they're the enemy's enemy. They're the enemy's enemy. Grandchildren are good. Whatever your child did, to you, they do it to them. So ghadab in anger is miftahu kull shar in al-Kafi, is the gateway to every evil. Al-ghadab mamhaqatun liqalb al-hakim. It destroys the heart of even a wise man. You can be very wise, knowledgeable. You become angry, you lose it. Like, what is he doing? He's so upset. What is the remedy? 2 remedies I want to share with you about ghadab. Let's share with myself. One is in Tuhaf al-Uqul. The Prophet says to Imam Ali, when you get, Ya Ali, la taqdab, don't get angry. فَإِذَا قَدَبْتَ, he gives a solution. 1, فَقْعَدْ or فَقْعُدْ وَتَفَكَّرْ. Sit and think. في قدرة الرب على العباد وحلمه. Think about Allah and how much power He has and how much clemency He has, how much mercy He has. How many people are worshiping Allah from 8 billion people, 7 billion people? How many people are even thinking of a God? How many people are committing sins? If we were in that position, we would annihilate everyone tonight, for example. But Allah has so much power, but has so much clemency, hilm. So Rasulullah tells Imam Ali, think of the power of Allah. Sit down. He says, sit and think. Go and ponder. Go somewhere possibly. Go somewhere. Separate yourself and think that Allah has so much power, but He doesn't devastate and demolish everyone at the same time. He has patience. 2, Imam Ali alayhi salam in Ghurar al-Hikam, Dawul ghadab bis-samt. The remedy of anger is being quiet. Being quiet, not saying anything. Just listening to it and that's it. Usually what happens is you respond, they respond. They respond, you respond more. Higher escalation, until both wise people are now majnoon and crazy and they want to harm each other. So the best way is to do what? Samt. Being quiet, not saying anything. The last 2 things, al-baghi wal-hasad. Rasulullah, every day, I'm going to ask you what are these 6 things. Al-baghi means to be enemies with someone without any reason. Baghi. To find someone just to, harm them, hate them. Maybe you don't like the way he looks. You don't like the way they drive. You don't like the way, for example, they take your parking spot or whatever. Baghi means without had a dalil, but without a purpose. You just hate somebody, you just want to hurt someone, you just want to harm them. The sixth is al-hasad, and we ran out of time. The sixth is I seek refuge from Allah from jealousy. Somebody I am try to study for my exams. I listen to everything. I attend class. I write down whatever teacher says. This guy comes, he doesn't even study and aces the exam, and I barely get a C, for example. I get jealous. Oh, you never come to class. You don't even have to write notes. God, why does he get it? I have a business. This other person, my in-laws have another business. Or someone else has another business. I work so hard. I have a little bit of income. They don't even go to work. They don't even try hard. They just get all this business they have. They're making so much money. I get jealous. I get jealous. Or health. I'm so careful of what I eat. I exercise. I'm sick. I have health issues. This person eats fast food all the time. Nothing happens to him. I get jealous. The solution to jealousy is a tawheed al-af'al, meaning that I understand that every action happens for a reason by Allah. That if I am jealous, in reality means, God, why did you give this person this? You didn't give it to me. I'm questioning God at the end. That is the problem with jealousy. It is, in a way, you're questioning the monotheism, tawheed, and rububiyyat, and lordship of Allah is why He did this, why He did that. May Allah, inshallah, we seek refuge from these six things. What are they? Shak, doubt. 2, shirk. 3, hamiyya, which is, bigotry. 4th, ghadab, anger. 5th, al-baghi, oppressing without a reason. Wal hasad, and jealousy. Inshallah, may the waladat of our Nabi, inshallah, our Prophet, be mubarak for all of you. May inshallah He give us the best of AD, inshallah, the best of gifts during this time period. Being that, inshallah, removal of the suffering that is happening in Palestine and Gaza and around the Middle East. May Allah, inshallah, give victory to all those that are fighting against oppression. May Allah have mercy on our departed. Give healing to all those that are sick. Answer your du'as, inshallah. Give us shafa'at of Rasulullah, intercession of Rasulullah. And grant us, inshallah, the faraj and the coming of Imam Mahdi, ajallahu ta'ala faraj, and make us of his companions with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. They asked last week, do you have Q&A? I know it went a little bit longer, but not too much long, but does anyone have any comments or questions they have about this lecture or about, yes? No, it's up. It is because I'm not close to that station at all.